You guys can see the car made it home, but not without its problems. So I'm gonna try and talk through this super fast. It might be a minute, but I couldn't really do this at the track. It was kind of a hectic day with some of the problems we're working through with the car and then having some of the family there. So the car's always had a charging problem. So we had to jump the car when we left. We got there, typed the car in, everything was fine. Hung out with the family for a sec. I went to go start the car to make our first shakedown pass of the year, and dead. So we hopped it off the truck, and everything was fine. I don't have the slip with me, but it ran 112 miles an hour at a high 12, just like last year. So pretty much exactly the same, so I knew everything was good. So go back, turn the bottle on, and it ran fine. So we made 2 passes off of what last year's was, which was 150 nitrous, or 150 fuel, 100 nitrous, and the first and second pass, the trans was doing this weird thing, which I'm sure you can hear in the video. I didn't record all of my passes because we were having some problems, but it was hanging up between gears, like the trans wasn't shifting. So the first time I let out of it, it shifted, so I got back in it. The car worked fine. The second time it did it, I just stayed in it, see what the trans was gonna do, and it just took a second for it to go through the gears. I mean, quite a bit more than normal. So we sent our data logs out. I went to make, I think it was our 4th pass of the day. I switched it back to NA, so I turned the bottle off, and when I started the car, all of my dash lights were off. So obviously we're dealing with some kind of electronics problem, a voltage problem, which is probably messing with the transmission and the shift points. So that's on our to-do list now. That pass went okay. So we ended up moving up. So we ran a couple passes. It was kind of like a hit or miss whether the trans was gonna do something funky. So we ended up stepping the nitrous jet up, and the car ran a little bit lean. So we're gonna have to pull all the plugs and make sure we didn't hurt anything. But it ended up running 1249 at 117 miles an hour. I'll throw the time slip up so you can see, but we're just having some electronics problems with the car. Drove it back, talked to Charles Barber, and he's thinking, after watching the air fuel and looking at the logs, that the fuel solenoid's not working. So what we're gonna do here in a second is we're gonna take a pass in the car, just right out here on the street. I'm just gonna get into it for half a second and see what the air fuel is. Then what I'm gonna do is turn on the nitrous controller, but I'm gonna leave the bottle off, so it should just spray fuel. Same thing, I'm just gonna get into it just for a second. And then see, I mean, it should go super fat if it's only doing fuel. So just enough to be able to see if it's working. If it's not working, then there's our problem. But between the super slow 60 foot, and I wasn't racing the tree, so it had bad reaction times. I think we should be somewhere in the high 11s if we can get the car squared away. Like I said, this pass at 117, we were still fighting a little bit of transmission delays in the shift. So track down a couple of problems and hopefully get back out there here in a couple of weeks on my next day off for test and tune, and see if we can't break into the 11s. First clip was just motor, the second clip was the fuel solenoid. So pretty much answers our question because there was no changes, that the fuel solenoid is not working. But since we recorded all that stuff, we actually sold our power stroke and we pulled all the nitrous stuff out of the car. We're gonna keep the nitrous stuff for a different day, different project. But since we sold the truck, we're gonna go pick up something cool. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully I get it tomorrow. And then we can start ordering some pieces for it and get it thrown in the car, and then we'll move forward on explaining what our next couple goals for the car are. So that's pretty much problem solved. Second problem is this little couple of fuses. So we ended up having that electronics problem, which I explained in this video. I went through and I started testing all these fuses, and like 99% of the fuses in the car, key off, were hot. So I just went through and you can see on the windshield there, I printed like a cheat sheet for all of what the fuses do and where they are. And I just started pulling fuses that aren't needed, don't use. It doesn't have AC anymore, so it doesn't need any AC stuff. The radio never works, so we don't need radio stuff. The spotlights aren't in the car, we pulled the spotlights. So I'd say there's probably like 25 or so fuses in here. So I'm just kind of hoping that odds are we maybe pulled our problem out this way. I'm gonna try tonight, because it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, to try and jump the car real quick. I won't start it, but just to let it charge, and then I'll see what the battery shows tomorrow when I wake up. But hopefully that's gonna be problem solved. So as far as the nitrous stuff goes, we'll probably list it. If it sells, it sells. If not, then I'll just hold on to it for another project. And then if that day comes, we're just gonna have to order another fuel solenoid. So stay tuned, because hopefully by the time you guys see this, we already have what we're doing in hand. So that should be pretty cool. Another couple of projects coming that way for this thing. So stay tuned and see what happens next.